The ranch was quiet in the early morning. The sun rose slowly over the wide fields, casting golden light on the grass and the horses that moved gracefully in the pastures. The air smelled fresh and sweet. The rancher, a tall and strong man with weathered hands, was already up. He had spent most of his life on this land, working from sunrise to sunset. Every fence, every barn, every corner of the property held memories of hard work, laughter, and the struggles of a life spent outdoors. But what made the ranch truly special was not the land or the animals, it was the bond he shared with his younger brother. As children, they had run through these fields together, climbing fences, chasing cattle, and playing near the creek that cut through the property. They had learned to ride horses before they could even walk properly, and every chore, every lesson about ranch life had been shared. The older brother, now the rancher, always protected his younger brother. He taught him how to feed the animals, mend fences, and care for the land. They were a team, and everyone in the small town knew that their bond was unbreakable. They laughed together, argued like brothers do, but at the end of the day, they were inseparable. As the rancher prepared the horses for the morning check, he noticed his brother moving near the barn. The younger one looked excited, almost too eager, as he walked back and forth. "What's on your mind?" the rancher asked. Smiling, his brother grinned. "I have an idea," he said. "Maybe we can expand the ranch. I found a piece of land not far from here that could be perfect for more cattle." The rancher nodded thoughtfully. Expansion had always been a dream for both of them. More land meant more opportunities, but it also meant more responsibilities. He trusted his brother completely, and together, they planned every step carefully, imagining a future where the ranch could grow and thrive. Days passed, and they worked side by side, inspecting fences, feeding the animals, and making notes about the new land. They spoke late into the night about their plans, dreaming of how the ranch could become even better. The younger brother was always full of ideas, and the rancher often admired his enthusiasm. Yet, in the back of his mind, a small voice whispered caution. But he ignored it, believing that family always had each other's best interests at heart. Then, small things began to appear. Money seemed to disappear from the accounts. Decisions were made without consulting the rancher. The younger brother grew defensive whenever he was asked about certain actions. At first, the rancher dismissed it. Mistakes happened, after all. People could be forgetful. But as weeks went by, the signs became harder to ignore. The rancher began to watch closely, noticing subtle changes in his brother's behavior. There were secret meetings, phone calls in private, and a new air of secrecy that was unlike the person he had known all his life. One afternoon, a letter arrived from a land buyer interested in a portion of the ranch. The rancher's heart sank as he read it. The buyer mentioned that a deal had already been discussed, and a signature was supposedly completed. Confused, the rancher confronted his brother. "Did you sign anything?" he asked, his voice steady but with a hint of fear. His brother hesitated, then said, How could someone he loved and trusted do this without telling him?" His mind raced, remembering every moment they had spent planning, every late-night conversation about their dreams. The betrayal cut deeper than any physical wound ever could. The rancher could hardly eat that evening. He sat alone on the porch, watching the sun set behind the hills. His mind was heavy with confusion and sorrow. How could his brother have made such a choice? How could he betray the very person who had guided him through life? Memories of their childhood flashed in his mind, the laughter, the shared secrets, the long days spent working the land together. And now, all of it felt tainted. The rancher knew he needed to take action, but he did not want to ruin their relationship completely. He wanted answers, but he also wanted to protect the ranch. The thought of losing both was unbearable. The next morning, the rancher began to investigate quietly. He checked records, spoke to neighbors, and observed every move his brother made. It became clear that the younger brother had acted without consent. He had sold a portion of the land secretly and had planned to use the money for personal reasons, ignoring the impact on the ranch and the family legacy. The betrayal was not just about money. It was about trust, respect, and the bond they had shared for so many years. The rancher felt a mixture of anger and heartbreak, unsure of how to confront someone he had loved and protected all his life. Despite the pain, the rancher did not act impulsively. He knew that rushing into anger could make things worse. Instead, he spent time reflecting, walking through the fields, talking to the animals, and seeking advice from close friends. The people who had known the brothers since childhood offered their perspectives. Some suggested legal action, while others advised forgiveness. The rancher considered every option carefully. His love for his brother was still there, buried beneath the hurt, and he hoped that somehow, understanding could replace anger. But the betrayal was real, and the consequences could not be ignored. Days turned into a week, and tension in the household grew. The younger brother sensed that the rancher had discovered the truth, though no words were spoken. The rancher continued his work as usual, tending to cattle and repairing fences. But inside, he felt a storm of emotions. Every decision, every movement of his brother was observed, analyzed, and measured against the memory of their shared past. He wondered if the bond they once had could ever be repaired, or if this was the end of a relationship that had lasted a lifetime. The rancher realized that, sometimes, life presented challenges not just in the form of storms or droughts, but in the betrayal of those closest to you. One evening, as the sky turned orange and purple, the rancher called his brother to sit with him. The air was heavy with unspoken words. "I know what you did," he said softly. The younger brother looked down, ashamed, unable to meet his eyes. "I didn't mean to hurt you," he whispered. But words could not erase the act. The rancher's heart ached as he struggled to understand why someone he trusted so completely would choose this path. He realized that this moment would define not only the future of the ranch, but also the future of their relationship. The rancher spent the night awake, thinking about the options he had. He could take legal action, sever ties completely, or find a way to protect the ranch while preserving a shred of family connection. The weight of responsibility pressed down on him. The betrayal had shaken him to his core, but he also knew that giving in to anger would only make the situation worse. The rancher decided to wait, to observe, and to plan carefully. He knew that a response, when it came, needed to be measured, wise, and unthinkable in its courage. It needed to surprise everyone. As part 1 ends, the rancher stands on the porch once more, looking over the fields that have been in his family for generations. The sun dips below the horizon, casting long shadows across the land. His heart is heavy, his trust shaken, but his mind is sharp. He has discovered the betrayal, and now he must choose the next steps. The world of the ranch is filled with challenges, but nothing has tested him like this. He knows that what comes next will define not just the ranch, but the man he is and the bond he once shared with his brother. The unthinkable is coming, and the entire community will soon witness a decision that no one could have imagined. The rancher woke early the next morning, the sun just beginning to peek over the hills. The air was cool, and the quiet of the morning gave him time to think. He had spent hours the night before considering every possible action. His brother's betrayal had shaken him deeply, but he knew that anger alone would not fix anything. This was not just about the ranch, it was about trust, family, and the future of their lives together. He needed a plan that was thoughtful, careful, and, most importantly, unexpected. He started the day with his usual chores, tending to the cattle and checking the fences, but his mind was elsewhere. Every step he took, every decision he made, was measured. He needed to understand his brother. why he had done what he did, and whether there was any way to rebuild what had been lost. He thought about their childhood, about the long days spent together on the ranch, and about the dreams they had shared. Those memories were painful now, but they also reminded him why he could not simply give up. By mid-morning, the rancher had made a decision. He would confront his brother, but not in anger. Instead, he would approach with calm and clarity. He called his brother into the main barn, where the light fell softly through the high windows. The younger brother appeared hesitant, his eyes avoiding the rancher's. He seemed to know that something important was about to happen. "I know what happened," the rancher said quietly. "I know about the land, and I know about the deal you made without telling me. I won't lie. This hurt me deeply. But before we act, I want to understand why you did it." His voice was steady, but it carried the weight of his disappointment. The younger brother swallowed hard and looked down. I thought I was helping," he said. "I wanted to make things easier for us. I didn't mean to hurt you. I just thought we needed the money for other things." His voice trembled, and the rancher could see the fear and regret in his eyes. The betrayal was real, but so was the brother's remorse. The rancher took a deep breath. He realized that this moment was a test not just of their bond, but of his own character. He could respond with anger, punish his brother, and sever their relationship completely. Or he could choose a path that was difficult, unexpected, and courageous. He decided to do something no one would see coming. Instead of confronting the land buyer or going to court immediately, he proposed a plan. "We will fix this," he said. "We will make things right. But you need to understand the consequences of your actions. The ranch comes first, always. From now on, any decisions about the land, the cattle, or the finances must be made together. No exceptions." His brother nodded, relief and shame mixing in his expression. He agreed to the terms without hesitation. The rancher then took a step further. "I will also give you a chance to earn back my trust. You will take responsibility for the animals, the accounts, and the daily work of the ranch. For the next few months, you must show that you are committed to this family and this land." It was a bold decision. Many in the town would have expected lawsuits, arguments, or a complete breakup of their partnership. But the rancher chose something different. He chose to confront the betrayal with wisdom and courage. He believed that actions spoke louder than words, and that his brother's response over the coming months would prove whether trust could be rebuilt. The following days were challenging. The younger brother worked hard, often from sunrise to sunset, following every instruction carefully. The rancher watched, noting both successes and mistakes. There were moments of tension, and the older brother often felt the weight of anger still pressing on his heart. But gradually, he began to see changes. His brother listened more, worked with focus, and showed a willingness to learn from past mistakes. During this time, the rancher also reflected on himself. He realized that betrayal, while painful, could teach lessons about patience, leadership, and forgiveness. He thought about the importance of family and about the life they had built together. He understood that trust was fragile, but it could be restored if approached with care. Slowly, he allowed himself to hope that their bond could survive, even if it would never be exactly the same. One afternoon, as they repaired a fence near the creek, the younger brother spoke softly. "I'm sorry for everything," he said. "I didn't think about how it would affect you, the ranch, or our family." "I see that now." The rancher paused, looking at the boy who had grown into a man before his eyes. "Actions matter more than words," he replied. "Show me with your work, with your decisions, that you are here for the right reasons." The days turned into weeks, and slowly, The tension eased. The younger brother continued to work diligently, and the rancher found himself beginning to trust again, though cautiously. They shared small victories to gather cattle that were safely tended, fences rebuilt stronger than before, and plans for future expansion made carefully and honestly. Each success reminded them of the bond they once had, and gave hope that some of it could be restored. Neighbors noticed the change as well. Some had expected a feud, a bitter ending to a long-standing partnership. But instead, they saw two brothers working together, stronger for having faced such a challenge. The rancher's decision to respond calmly and wisely became a quiet lesson for the whole community. People admired his courage, his patience, and his ability to turn a moment of betrayal into an opportunity for growth. One evening, after a long day on the ranch, the brothers sat on the porch together, watching the sunset. The sky was painted with warm shades of orange and pink, reflecting on the rolling fields. The rancher felt a sense of peace, even though the hurt had not completely disappeared. "We've learned a lot," he said quietly. "Life isn't always easy, and people make mistakes. But how we respond defines us more than the mistakes themselves." His brother nodded, understanding the gravity of the moment. "I'll never forget what I did," he said, "and I'll work every day to earn your trust back." The rancher placed a hand on his brother's shoulder. "That's all I can ask," he replied. "We can move forward, carefully, together." The following months brought small but meaningful improvements. The ranch began to prosper again, with both brothers contributing equally and responsibly. The land, the animals, and the family legacy were protected, and the younger brother had shown true commitment to the ranch and to the bond they shared. Trust, while tested, had begun to grow again, slowly and steadily. By the end of the year, the rancher reflected on what had happened. The betrayal had been painful, a deep cut to his heart, but it had also brought lessons he would never forget. He had learned about patience, courage, and the importance of handling conflict with wisdom rather than anger. He had also learned that family, though sometimes flawed, was worth fighting for. The ranch stood strong, the cattle were healthy, and the land remained in good hands. Though the relationship between the brothers had changed, it was not destroyed. There was still laughter, shared stories, and small acts of kindness. The rancher knew that the scars of betrayal would never fully disappear, but he also knew that strength and love could coexist with pain. Life on the ranch continued, with new challenges and victories, but also with a deeper understanding of trust, responsibility, and forgiveness. As the story ends, the rancher looks out over the fields one last time, feeling a quiet pride. He had faced the unthinkable, the betrayal of someone he loved and trusted, and had responded with courage and wisdom. He had protected his family, his land, and his own integrity. The community had watched in amazement, learning that true strength sometimes comes not from anger or revenge, but from calm, careful action and the willingness to rebuild what has been broken. The rancher turned back to his brother, who was tending the horses. There was still work to be done, both on the land and in their relationship. But for the first time since the betrayal, the rancher felt hope. Hope that the bond between them, though tested, could survive. Hope that the lessons learned from pain could guide them toward a stronger, brighter future. And most importantly, hope that trust, once rebuilt, could shine even brighter than before.